Today's video is going to be about a review of length and perimeter. And before we get started, we know these things here have units, and the metric system has the units millimeters, centimeters, meters, and kilometers as the typical units we tend to use. There are other ones, but they're quite rare. So we know that we've got a certain number of millimeters that make up a centimeter, and likewise to meters, and then so on to kilometers. And it's important for us to remember those. It's previous knowledge, but if we have conversions going this way, we need to fluently, effortlessly be able to go from one unit to the other. Sometimes we need to convert things to a more appropriate unit. So we know that if we have a certain number of kilometers, to have that same distance in meters, we need to multiply by 1,000. So if we have 5 kilometers, we multiply 1,000, we have 5,000 meters. If we have a certain number of meters, we have to multiply by 100, put that into centimeters. So if we have 3 meters, we have 300 centimeters. We multiply by 10, and if we have 12 centimeters, we have 120 millimeters. This way here, if we have a certain number of millimeters, centimeters, the opposite operation. So instead of timesing by 10 here, we divide by 10, we divide by 100, and we divide by 1,000. That's something no doubt you've known for a while. So that helps us become fluent. The next thing we need to review, because all of this is review work, is the idea of a length. A length, we're talking about something usually in a straight line. Okay, if we have one length like that, that's one-dimensional. If we have perhaps something like that, we might be talking about 2 dimensions, 2 directions, left and right, up and down. We won't go into 3 dimensions until we look at volume. So one of the applications of length is the idea of perimeter. Perimeter is just an application of length. Length only, not area. Area is more to do with the space inside a closed object. The perimeter is the distance around the boundary of a closed object, a closed plane figure, or a closed flat shape. So distance, perimeter, they're linked. Okay, so there should be no confusion with area. So area is not in that category. So we are not yet talking about area. Area and distance, or area and length, are not the same. So what else do we need to know? Well, finding the perimeter of a simple shape is something you should already know how to do. Perimeter. The thing about perimeter sometimes teaches our students to remember a whole lot of formulas for perimeter. I generally don't. Like things like for a rectangle, length plus width times 2. The trouble with that is that sometimes people forget to put length plus width in brackets. So instead of doing that, I'd encourage you, for simple shapes, if this is, say, a square, it's still just the distance right around that plane shape. That's all it is. So that's why the formula is 4s, or 4 times the side. With a rectangle, again, all it is, just remember that it's the distance around the shape. So with a rectangle, we have 2 sides the same and the other opposite 2 sides the same. So the perimeter there would be, well, if we start here, if we go that way around it, we've got length plus a width plus another length plus another width will get us back to the start. That's why it's 2L plus 2W, or L plus W times 2. But just remember, the most important thing, if you're going to write a formula down, you could write it as sum of side lengths. Sum of side lengths. Okay, so if there is a formula to remember, it's related to the concept of perimeter, the sum of the side lengths. It's the main thing you need to know. Now try these examples and turn your answers into your teacher. Pause the video to basically write them down and show your teacher in the next lesson. Okay, continuing on now. The next part of the video, we're looking at the distance around a closed shape, but we're looking at composites. So we're still looking at straight line shapes, but composite shapes. So composite shapes, you might recall, are shapes that are a mixture of more than one plane shape. So something like the old rectangle with a triangular top on it, things like that, or you might have a large rectangle with maybe a smaller one missing from the side, things like that. They're composites, and the idea of that is still the same. Perimeter is still the sum of the sides, or the distance around the outside, sum of the side lengths. So all we need to know is all of the lengths of the sides. So provided we're given those, we can find them. So for the first one, if we know all of these side lengths, we can still find the perimeter. This one, the same. If we don't know the side length, sometimes we might not be able to do the question, or if it's, say, this one here, where we're given all the other sides except for the slant height, trickier questions may give us this height and that distance there, and we'd be able to use Pythagoras' theorem to find that slant height, which is a little bit harder because you have to apply two ideas together. So we might see a little bit of that in the harder questions. But basically that's perimeter, and now once you've watched this video, understood it and done those three questions, you're ready for the next lesson. Thank you.